Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to our instructor, Ms. Crisia de los Santos. For today's reporting, me and Ken Cavite will discuss the Module 5, Section 2, and it's all about the emotional regulation. But before we start our topic, let me read this one. This section continues the discussion on the emotional expression and regulation. It highlights practical applications of emotional intelligence to one's daily life. We have three learning outcomes. First, describe and explain their emotional development as adolescents. Second, expound on the specific mechanisms of emotional expression and regulation. And third, identify appropriate situations in which emotional regulations should be practiced. So now on, let's move to our main topic, the emotional regulation. Emotional regulation is defined as an attempt to influence emotions. This can be applied in interacting with the self and others. What is influence emotion? Influence emotions happen when another person comes to experience similar emotions to yours. Emotional regulations may take two forms: cognitive reappraisal and suppression. Cognitive reappraisal involves the evaluation of the situation prior to making personal, subjective valuations about it. Suppression involves denial and masking of facial expressions to hide one's current emotional state. Another approach in explaining emotional regulation is through the use of cognitive covert strategies and behavioral overt strategies. Cognitive covert strategies includes experiential avoidance, avoidance of thoughts and feelings judged to be painful, rumination, repeated contemplation, acceptance, and distraction. These strategies happen when one's mind and are not directly observable. Behavioral overt strategies entail engagement in observable activities such as behavioral avoidance, choice of not doing behaviors resulting in negative emotions, substance abuse, exercise, eating, and getting involved in social activities. The advantage of using the cognitive covert is that they provide the ability to alter negative impacts of unpleasant emotions. Behavioral regulation is that its observable nature allows them to be monitored directly. However, involvement in unhealthy behaviors such as substances abuse as way of emotional coping adjustment can lead to a long-term unhealthy consequences for the individuals. We have meta-analytic research has outlined 10 common strategies employed in emotional regulation. We have namely rumination, distraction, acceptance, problem solving, behavioral avoidance, experiential avoidance, expressive suppression and reappraisal, mindfulness, and last one is worry.
Managing and regulating emotions in adolescence. Teaching emotion regulation skills such as accepting or managing negative feelings can help adolescents better balance their emotions. Adolescents can more effectively regulate their emotions by learning emotion regulation techniques, including embracing or controlling unpleasant emotions. Adolescence is considered a turbulent time of development due to the biological, psychological, and social changes that adolescents experience and encounter. Because of these factors that adolescents go through, adolescence is seen as a chaotic period of growth. It is important that at this stage, adolescents begin to curb their impulsivity, develop emotional efficacy, and ultimately acquire emotional maturity. This will enable them to make viable future plans and long term goals. Reminder: in order to establish emotional efficacy and emotional maturity, and emotional regulation must be learned. There are common characteristics shared by individuals who have achieved emotional maturity and efficacy. These individuals manifest the following qualities that enable effective emotional regulation. Number one is self control. Self control in adolescence involves the ability to regulate one's emotions, impulses, and behaviors in order to achieve long term goals or adhere to social norms. Adolescents with strong self control can resist immediate gratification and manage their impulses and make thoughtful decisions even in the face of peer pressure or tempting situation. An example of self-control in adolescence is when an adolescent refraining from reacting impulsively to peer pressures and making thoughtful decisions showcases self-control. Trustworthiness. Trustworthiness in adolescence involves consistently keeping promises, being honest with peers and adolescents, and respecting confidential information. It's about building a reliable reputation through dependable actions. An example of trustworthiness in adolescence is when a teenager is entrusted with a task, such as babysitting a younger sibling, and consistently follows through with their responsibilities and ensuring the safety and well being of the child. Number three is conscientiousness. Conscientiousness in adolescence is characterized by a high level of responsibility, organization, and diligence. Adolescents who exhibit conscientious traits are often thorough in their approach to tasks, pay attention to details, and strive to fulfill their obligations. An example of conscientiousness in adolescence is evident when a teenager consistently completes their homework assignments, pay attention to details, and take responsibilities for their academic performance, demonstrating a diligent and disciplined approach to their studies.
4 is adaptability, handling change with flexibility. 5 is innovation, being open to new ideas. And lastly is empathy, understanding other people and putting yourself in their shoes. But before we end our topic, let me add some definitions or ideas about emotional regulation. In a cultural aspect, emotional regulation is defined as all the processes that help attain culturally appropriate or functional emotional experiences. This definition underlies the importance of culture and emotional behavior. There is a need to contextualize how emotions are managed in an appropriate manner. Strategies that would fit the cultural context people are in must be adapted. In the cultural context, emotional regulation is influenced by culturally valued relationship frameworks. This ensures social competence in a variety of situations within homes, school environments, and the society at large. Thank you, everyone.